Welcome back to Hit Points Gaming. Let's see, 2020 so far has been totally different year than I think most of us would be expecting. Obviously weird for gaming, right? So not only do I now have a 7th-month-old and I'm celebrating my first Father's Day, we have a little bit of a global pandemic going on. So I think all of our gaming has been reduced to some extent, or at least has changed. And that's the reason why I'm putting this video together today. I basically had to take a step back and look at my gaming collection and see what type of games I may be able to play as a solo player. It's something that I really don't experience much of. Obviously, Andrea, who's a part of the channel as well, I get to play with a lot in a lot of different games. She really likes that. You've seen some of the videos that we put out. And I also have a really great group of friends that I get to pull together, and we get to try a ton of things out. And, you know, I might have gaming sessions 2-3 nights a week. That was prior to becoming a father, right? That completely came to a halt, and a lot of you out there gave me the heads up about that, and it is very true. So, you know, we're at the part where I may be able to sneak in a few gaming hours at night now, maybe 2 hours. You know, but Andrea's not around. She's probably sleeping, getting ready for the morning shift. And, you know, like I said with the pandemic, I can't really call in a lot of our friends to play. So, like I said, I wanted to take a look at some of our solo games. And that's why I put this video together, because I took a look at my collection and I went back to games that I might have played for a little bit, but I never truly dove in and finished them. This is the same if you're a video gamer. This is something that you do. You have your collection of games that you tried a little bit, something else came out, and you never went back to it. It's like your backlog, right? So I think we have a backlog of board games, especially ones that have a story, a narrative story. So this is what I wanted to try and tackle with those few extra hours that I have at night. So I went back, and Legends of Andor, which is what this video is all about, is one such game. I played many years ago. Actually, it was one of the first games that we played. If you've been following us, this whole, recording games and whatnot came about when we started putting together our own board game tournament between all of our friends. And it was a way for us to record the rules and have people watch in so they can just come together and start playing. And we did like teams versus teams, and we recorded points on how well we did. And Legends of Andor was one such game. It's a cooperative game for those of you who are unfamiliar with it. It's very puzzly, which is why I think it was perfect for me to try and play it as a solo playthrough. So what I'm going to do in this episode, or at least I'm going to try to do, is give a brief overview of Legends of Andor. I'm not going to go into a full gameplay. I'm not going to tell you exactly how it's fully played. This game's been covered for many years, and there's a lot of videos out there, but I wanted to put this together to say maybe it's a time, if you're trying to find a game to play, if you're in the same situation as myself, maybe it's time to go back and try and finish up some games that you have sitting on your shelf. So, of course, Legend of Andor is one of them. What I also want to do, the only thing that I find myself, I guess, solo lacking is some sort of competitive edge, right? I'm not versus somebody. Yes, I am versing the story, right? But how well I do versus that story, how many attempts do I need to do to complete a mission? I'm missing out on that, and that was a part of the tournament. Again, it was co-op, but how well one team did with the other. So I'm going to pose this out to our viewers, right? At the very end, I'm going to say how many attempts I took to complete the scenarios in Legend of Andor, and I want you guys, if you haven't played it yet before, or if you've played it, submit yours, submit a comment. How well did you do? Maybe this is something that we can do, moving forward when we talk about solo games. There's some other games that I did since playing this. I went back to 7th Continent. I played a game there. It was like 13 hours, one play session. Not one play session, with one mission that I was successful on. So if there are certain games out there that are solo that I may have, that you have, leave a comment. and it might be something that we can compare our results with. Not so much as like, hey, I did it so much better, but oh, let's go back, let's see how we did. Did you do it in a better way? Is there a better strategy? And we might be able to create that thread. That's, again, the reason why I'm kind of doing this video. Plus, I just really haven't done a video in a while, just kind of like at a whim to talk about something. Not truly a review of a game, not a full playthrough. So this is just my way of kind of connecting with our audience. I know Chris and Becky are still doing Friday Night Lights, and I just wanted to just kind of go in, not so much with a plan to put this video together, but just a way for me to connect back out with all of our viewers who have stuck with us during this pandemic. And you know, I've been out for a while, so it gives me a chance to do this. So let's take a look at Legends of Andor, the actual board right here. Now, I purchased this when it was published by Fantasy Flight. Since then, it has moved over to Cosmos, and I'll show you some of the other expansions that have come out with it. But really what Legends of Andor is, it's a scenario-driven narrative story game, I guess. As you can see here, there's numbers all over the board, and that's very important because it's a very puzzle-like style game, and this is why I find it very approachable as a single player. Yes, this is meant to be co-op, 2 to 4 players, but again, I just want to play by myself, and I found that this actually worked. I find that in a lot of co-op games, you know, one person has one idea, another person has another. Sometimes they can come to terms with it, but you really need to work together in a lot of these games to be successful. Legends of Andor is especially that. You only have a certain number of actions, certain number of turns before you fail. And that, you know, a lot of games are like that. But this is very much, it's very precise. You really only have limited enough turns if you've never played it before. So, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited, actually, because I'm talking about games again. But there's multiple characters. You'll see here. There's like there's an elf. There's a wizard. You know, an elf archer. Your generic players. You know, a warrior and a dwarf. So each person's going to select somebody. You're going to get your player board here, and then you're going to have a specific setup. So here's a scenario. There's a bunch of cards that it comes with. How to set up the game. As you play through scenarios, certain new cards are going to come out, new events are going to happen, and you of course have an objective that you're going to need to complete, right? And it will tell you specifically where people are going to be setting up on the board. That's why there's all these numbers, and these arrows are really important with how the monsters move at the end of the turn. So there's two, you know, you have one objective that you need to complete. You may or may not know that right at the beginning, but as the story unfolds, you'll know exactly what you need to do. There's 2 ways you can lose, right? If monsters enter this castle right here, there's a certain number of monsters that can enter before you automatically lose. Or if you run out of turns on the event track here. So at the end of every round, this event track is going to move down the board. When it hits one of these starbursts, a new story card is going to come out and drive the story. What I find very odd about this game, and it caught me off guard in the beginning, whenever you kill a monster, you also advance the track here. So you just can't go out and freely kill monsters to get gold to level up your character, because that's going to limit the amount of time that you have to complete the scenario. So you have to judge by how many monsters you're going to let into the castle, how many you're going to kill to level up, just to beat it. And that can catch you off guard the very first time you play. All right? So the board's very pretty. I really like this. You know, you've got like fog of war tokens here where you land here, you can flip them over, see what's on the other side. There's a bunch of different monsters like gores, skulls, I think they're called here. Like, it's a new style, or you know, it's in its own environment or world here, which is pretty refreshing. The art's excellent, if I didn't mention that just 30 seconds ago. What I really like about this game, what I found different, and now whenever a game has it, I always relate back to Legend of Andor, is basically the way that the player turns work. So there's this like sunrise track, and this is basically each hour of the day. So on your turn, you can spend 1 action, basically an attack, and to spend 1 hour. Or if you want to move, say I want to move 3 spaces, I would move 3 hours up on the board. Then my next turn, if I wanted to do an attack, maybe move 2 more hours, and it constantly rotates around the players. But then you really only have 7 hours, 7 actions each day until you go into the night and you have to start exhausting yourself. The first person that rests basically is the first player of the next day. So I really do like how this tracker works here. Real quick with the player board, basically whenever you attack, you're going to roll dice depending on the character that you are. Your highest die result, let's say out of my 4 dice, is a 6. I add whatever my battle strength is. So this is technically going to be an 8. I need to basically match or exceed the monster that I'm fighting. The monster also has dice and health value that I need to kill. Basically, you keep going back and forth until either you die, you lose all your willpower points, or the monster dies and I gain gold. There's a bunch of different monsters in the game. We talked about the Gores, the Skrull. You've got some giant trolls here all the way up to the Mighty Dragon, which you play in the final scenario. The bosses in this game are really strong, really strong. You truly need to be prepared. Like I said, this is a puzzle game, and this is why I liked it as a solo game. I can sit here with all 4 of my characters. I can plan out all my moves. It's exactly how I want it to go. I can enjoy the story and try to solve the puzzle. There is a story element to it. The lore is pretty good. It's light, but it does drive the game. And like I said, there are 5 scenarios. Each one kind of drives off the last one until you have to fight the dragon at the end. Something that else is really cool about this is on the backside. Not many games have this, right? It's an entire new board. So I think this is played in scenarios 3 and 4. So it was a nice change of pace. Now I'm going underground into these caves. There's like new rules, like lava shooting out. You got to collect these gems. Really, really sharp. So I really liked what they did here and how this board plays out. Something else that I really did enjoy is this shopkeeper board right here. There's a bunch of items that you can purchase. It's also really important on what items you decide to use. This reminds me of the first awesome inventory board from Hero Quest. So I really did like purchasing stuff from this. So that is kind of Legend of Andor. Again, there's videos out there on how it's truly played, but I am recommending it as a solo game. If it is sitting on your shelf, dust it off, go back, try it out, and let's see how you compare. Let me know. So right now, I wrote this down. The first scenario, now I'll tell you this. I played the first scenario many years ago. It was probably 5 years ago. The very first time I did it, I lost. Because again, I didn't know that when you kill a monster, the time track. I think we did it wrong, and then so whatever. But since then, fast forward to the current time, knowing how to play it, right? I completed the first scenario in 1 try, second scenario in 1 try. The third scenario, it took me 3 tries to do it. The fourth in 1 shot, and then the second, we have to fight the dragon, spoiler, took me twice to beat that. That was really hard. And I felt that I had this game pretty well figured out, and it rocked me. So give it a shot. If you have any questions, any strategies, of course there's forums out there, but if you want to go back and forth to see like how I did it, how I approach certain things, leave a comment. Let's see how this goes. Again, there's a lot of solo games. I know like Terraforming Mars you could play solo. We could see like what your highest score is. I think Clans of Cadonia you can do with highest score. I'm not sure. I don't even know if anyone's going to care. But I cared. I was playing here by myself. And again, I want to get it out there and put this video together. So that's Legends of Andor. Now, after I completed this, there's of course a ton of other Legend of Andor expansions. First of all, there is the New Heroes expansion. So this is for 5 or 6 players, but really it allows you to bring in 4 new heroes and different, I guess, ways that they play, new items. Then there's the Star Shield expansion. So this adds a 6th scenario to the base game. I have yet to play these, but why I was really excited and why I started with this first game on the shelf is because I have all the expansions. Right? You've got Part 2, Journey to the North. So an entire new box set, a whole new double-sided board, a bunch of new characters, a bunch of new ways to play. You know, look, what's even the date on this one? 2016, so, well, that's still 4 years ago. Never even played it. Time to do it. And then there's The Last Hope. This is the third game in the trilogy. This is 2017, so 3 years later. I bet everyone has a collection of games just sitting there that they haven't played. Let me know if you do, if there's a bunch of games you haven't played. Maybe leave a comment in the section of what percentage of games that you own that you have yet to play. I'll have to think about that and see. This is just the best timing to go back and beat some games in your backlog. My next video that I'm going to put out is Legends of Andor related, and that is the most recent Liberation of Reitberg that I was able to get my hands on. Spoiler warning, this is not a scenario for the base games of Legend of Andor. Even though this takes place between missions 4 and 5, it's a standalone game. I did not know that until I had the game set up. I was reading the rules for the third time fully. Then it clicked. Nope, this is a completely standalone game. Andrew and I did play this, so I will give a full overview of the game in the next episode that I put out, because I wanted to give a shout out to this. So that's really the reason, I guess the reason why I put this video out there. Just to get out back to our viewers, say that I am still here. I appreciate Chris and Becky keeping the channel alive. If there's any other games out there that you've been playing solo that you can recommend to me, please let me know. I'm very interested. This coming next weekend, I'm actually getting a full day of gaming. It's going to be great. We're going to be playing Betrayal, House on the Hill, which has been about a year since we've been able to get back together and do that. Everdell, which is great. Such a good worker placement game. Andrew and I fell in love with it, so we're going to go back and play that. And my newest game that we got to try once is Forgotten Waters. So if you have not played Forgotten Waters yet, it is excellent. I did the first mission. Just Andrew and I. Now we might be able to play with a full crew of 7 players. I cannot wait to play that. And Tuesday, I don't know why I'm telling you. Again, look, I'm excited to play games again, right? I'm just telling you what we're going to be playing. Tuesday, Chris and Braden, who's also been on the channel, they're coming over, and we're going to go back and play. I don't have it here. Actually, it's upstairs. Oh, there's a rulebook. Runebound, the second edition, The Island of Dread. This is one of the expansions. I think this was the first expansion to the second edition of Runebound. I still had a sealed copy. Again, a game on my shelf that I never played. I was like, let's see if we can get together, just 3 players, play this out, and mark it off on the list of games being played. So I guess that's a good way of wrapping this up. If there's any obscure game sitting on your shelf, let me know what it is. And with that, I thank you for joining, watching through this episode. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this is something where you would want to see another solo game that I played, see what my stats are. We'll just see if this is something that the community enjoys and embraces, or just it's a waste of time. So thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you next time.